Hi guys, today I am going to be sharing with you what sold in our antique booth for the month of May. So as always, every time I do these types of videos where I tell you what sold in the booth, the price that I give you is the ticketed price, the price that we put on that doesn't include our 10% or anything like that. Starting next, well, we are in this next month, starting in June, it has already started, there is a new program that our antique mall started. So instead of getting like an itemized report printed out on a month-to-month basis, everything is on our phones in the app that they're using. So from here on out, the prices, well, not for this not for this video, but for starting next month's video, I will be sharing like the actual price instead of the ticketed price. So you know, what something actually sold for, you know, minus the 10%. So that's just going to be one little change, but other than that, it'll be the same type of video. I'll show you the item with the picture. I think in this particular video there might be like 5 things that I don't have pictures of. Oh my gosh, I don't know how this is happening. We think it's because you know, sometimes things sell so quickly that like we don't have the, like we didn't necessarily like take a picture of it kind of thing, and then by the time we get back in to take a picture, it's, you know, already gone because it was already sold. So it's not a bad problem to have, but it's just, you know, sometimes I'm missing pictures of things. So yeah, there's a couple. As far as that, I guess before, I do have something to talk about booth related, and I'll say that for the end of the video. So yeah, let's just get into what sold, because that's what you guys want to know. You guys are curious. You want to know what is selling in the antique booths, right? So the first thing that sold for the month of May was a swung vase. This one was an amberina orange swung vase. This one sold for $249. We actually have one that looks very similar to this still in our one glass case. When I get these videos together and like take screenshots of my pictures, I have to consult with Eric sometimes because I'm like, which vase was this? And then we were so confused about this particular vase. Oh my gosh, it was kind of hilarious going through sometimes. Anyway, the next item that sold was also a swung vase. This one was an Ellie Smith charcoal blue swung vase that sold for $129. Then we sold a Fenton milk glass hobnail like bud vase. That one sold for $12. Then we also sold like a miniature teapot. It was shaped like a bunch of grapes. That sold for $5. Then this is the second time we sold this set, and it was a Tupperware ketchup and mustard pump bottles. Those sold for $10. So this, you guys will probably see the yard sale video first before you see this video. But we decided to start picking up some Tupperware stuff when we see it at yard sales cheap, just to see if like other Tupperware stuff sells. Like I said, we sold this same Tupperware set twice in the booth already. So I think we picked up a deviled egg tray at a yard sale and like a little like lunchbox style Tupperware container. So we'll see. We'll see if other things sell other than the mustard and ketchup pumps. We also sold a milk glass hen on a nest for $19. A Pyrex lidded casserole dish. This had the sunflower lid on it. That sold $25. We sold a cat pull toy. It was like a carved cat on wheels little pull toy. That sold for $12. Then as always, we do sell garden flags here and there. This first one, it said "Stay Weird" on it. It had a frog. You see the picture. That sold for $10. Then we also sold a set of 3 brass, these nested together. They were little like pyramids. They were really cool. I've never seen them before. That set sold for $12. We sold a Jim Beam glass decanter. So it was like a genie, it looked like a genie bottle. And we have a blue one in there, I think, still, but it was the smoke colored one that sold. It was gray. Then we sold just this mini Ballantine mini whiskey jug that sold for $7. I sold the other Polish pottery cereal bowl. I had one prior that sold, so the other one, this one here, did sell now. That sold for $19. Then we sold a Longaberger Hostess. It was called a serve it basket. It was kind of long. It had a lid, and you could put like vegetables and dip and stuff in. So perfect for like picnics and cookouts and things like that. That sold for $55. Then we sold a miniature Falstaff crock for $9. I sold a Mexican folk art. This was a wooden carved, really colorful lizard on a cactus. That sold for $16. Then we sold 2 of the Westmoreland mini hens on the nest. So in this picture you see like a bunch of them. I think they all did sell, but the ones that sold for, the ones that did sell in this picture here was the red one and the green one on the end. And they both sold $30 a piece. Then next item is that same garden flag, the Stay Weird garden flag, another one that sold for $10. We sold an Ellie Smith bittersweet compote dish. That did not last long. $65 on that. I do have a small collection of bittersweet swung vases. I was willing to give up the compote dish. One day maybe I'll give up my swung vases, but as of right now. Then we sold an Alice in Wonderland book for $9. A pottery pitcher. This one was signed. Eric Hertz was the maker on it. That sold $20. Okay, so the Fenton clock. The picture you see is not the actual Fenton clock we sold. It's just kind of a picture of a Fenton clock so you could kind of get an idea of what it looked like. If you watched my haul video of like the glass and stuff that we won at the auction, I showed that clock in that video. Anyway, this was an instance of, we took it to the booth, forgot to take a picture, and it like sold right away. So the Fenton clock sold for $45. Then we sold another garden flag. This one was hilarious. It says "Welcome to Majestic Wishabitch Woods." That sold $10. Then we sold a Roseville spongeware crock for $8. A Viking red glass bowl for $19. Then we also sold a Napco angel. This one was like a month angel. It was for the month of May. And that's when it sold. That sold for $15. The next item was a pineapple shaped basket. It was signed, so it was, you know, made by someone. That sold for $9. We also sold a little clear glass chick. It was like a chick little glass lidded dish. That sold for $9. Then we sold a really large Polish pottery vase for $65. The cast iron butterfly lantern. We had this in the booth for quite a while, actually. So this did take a while to sell, but it did sell. $26. Then we sold a Fenton milk glass daisy and button vase for $10. I don't have a picture of this next item, but it was a Fenton blue Salem vase that sold for $15. Then we sold another Ellie Smith Amberina swung vase. This one was 21 inches and that sold for $225. This next item was a picture, and it was signed. It was called The Wedding Party, and it was just like a flock of geese. It was really cute. That sold $12. We sold a red glass Viking owl for $30. Another garden flag. This one says, welcome, don't expect much. That sold for $10. A pair of brass candlesticks, so for the set, $19. This next item also don't have a picture of. It was a miniature Beaumont Brothers little hen. That sold for $11. A duck-shaped creamer, little pitcher, that sold for $16. A Fenton Silvercrest bowl for $7. I also don't have a picture of this. It was a little, well, you saw it. You did see this in that same auction haul video. It was the military shaped clear glass trinket dish. It was shaped like a military hat. That sold for $6. Sold another garden flag. This one said, ain't nobody got time for that. That sold for $10. The next garden flag that sold said, cluck around and find out, with the chicken. That sold $10. A Bobby Becker painting. This was a small painting of some cows. That sold $29. We sold a blue Fenton hobnail glass fairy lamp. This did have an issue. It was an as-is type of item. And if we ever put anything in the booth that has some sort of issue, we always make it known. We write as is, and sometimes if it's not super noticeable as to what's wrong, I'll write on the tag somewhere exactly what's wrong, just in case someone has a hard time even figuring out what's wrong with it. But that fairy lamp sold $19. Then I don't have a picture of this either, but it was a Fenton pink bud vase that sold for $32. We sold a Mr. Toodles cookie jar for $65. Another Stay Weird garden flag for $10. A Longaberger basket. This one was called a cracker basket. It was just kind of like long and thin. That sold for $25. We sold the cutest Norcrest piggy bank. Absolutely adorable. That sold $22. A glass Fenton bell. This was actually musical. It played music and it had a cross on the top. That sold for $21. We also sold a Fenton daisy and button glass bell for $12. So it's basically in the picture, the bells on each side of that fairy lamp that you see in the picture. I know it's not the best picture. We sold a Brenninger redware plate for $65. And then the last thing, and this was a great sale for the end the month out. It was this large stained glass honeybee lamp that sold for $195. So it's always awesome to start the month out. We started the month out with the swung vase at $249 and ended the month with a stained glass bee lamp at $195. So a great start and end to the month there. So not too bad, not too bad. Let's see. Trying to think of the things I wanted to say now that I finished going through what sold. So big-ish news, I guess, would be, so those of you who, watch my booth videos, or, you're local and maybe, have seen our booths and things like that, our very first booth, was kind of like down, what they call the hallway in our antique mall. So that was where our first booth was. Well, it still is as of now, but we are moving out. It's going to be, kind of bittersweet because, it was our very first spot in the mall. But we are moving out. is a booth that came available out in the main part of the mall. It's not real close to our other booth or anything like that, but someone that we know from like going to auctions and stuff, he decided he was no longer going to, you know, keep his booth and whatnot. So his booth spot became available and it was offered to us, so we took it. So I don't know exactly, Eric knows, I think exactly, or maybe he doesn't know yet exactly what day we'll actually be able to move our stuff from the old booth. I call it the old booth, though it was our first booth. So from the old booth to the new booth. New booth number 2. It's slightly confusing, right? But yeah, so that's exciting. I do think that the booth, Eric says it's slightly deeper than the booth that we are coming from. So I'm curious to see if we'll have any extra room where we can, you know, maybe bring in something larger. I've been constantly like wanting to bring like a piece of furniture or something in. I have this really awesome, like, it's not Hitchcock, but it very much looks like a Hitchcock wood rocking chair. It's gorgeous. I'd love to bring that in. I just don't have the room to do so. So I'm curious to see if like maybe I'll have a little room I can maybe bring in like a larger piece here and there. So we'll see. Anyway, and then there was a new booth that came in beside us in the hallway, those of you who do shop there, and she wants to expand. So that booth will be moving her stuff over, you know, to offer more items, you know what I mean, because she'll have our old booth. So yeah, it just like all worked out perfectly for everyone. So I'm excited to see, like I said, how once we move all that stuff over and all of the, you know, furniture that we are using to display our stuff on, like how it, I don't know if we'll have it set up exactly the same. We'll probably play around a little bit and see, you know, what happens, see what kind of space we have and that type of thing. So obviously when that day comes, when we're moving, I'll try to record and show you guys the process of, you know, how it's coming along and everything like that. Obviously would love to have it done in a day, so we'll just have to take a day and get it all finished and moved and ready to go. So that's exciting. And then I think the only thing else that I wanted to say is, and some of you might already follow our antique booth Facebook page, but if you don't, there's always a link down in my description box. And what we do is we will take pictures of, like, you know, new stuff that we put in. And I only say this because sometimes you guys don't see that. Like, stuff will come straight from like an auction and it'll go straight into the booth, you know, kind of thing. So you never see it. The only time you'll see it really is, you know, if it sells, you'll see it in like a sold video. But that's, you know, if you feel inclined to, you know, follow our antique booth. Trying to think. I also did, and they haven't come yet, but I did get little stickers made of like the logo that I use for our antique booth. It's a cat with a like swung vase, and then it has our booth name, Happened Upon. So I did get some stickers made, and I may put some in the booth. I don't know if anyone would actually buy any for like $1. But I might put, excuse me, I might put a couple in there just to see if anybody wants any. But I'm probably going to use them. My main thought process was, because that name is also the name I use for my Whatnot shows and things like that. And my thought process was to use the stickers as giveaway items. I used to do giveaways a lot on Whatnot, and then one day I got a bad review on a giveaway item. I don't even remember what it was now, but it was just ridiculous that someone had to leave a bad review on something they got for free and that like I had to pay to send to them, you know what I mean? Just left a bad taste in my mouth, and then I stopped doing them because people said like, you know, you don't have to do giveaways on Whatnot and da 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 da. But, you know, I do have a lot of repeat buyers and things like that, and I would like to do something, you know, for them and that kind of thing. And I don't know, I thought like a lot of people have their own like little stickers and things made, so I decided to get some. But I don't know, I'm excited about it, but I don't know if anyone else will be excited about it. I love stickers. But anyway, so that's everything. That's what's sold in the booth for May. We are moving our first booth into a new one. And I'll let you know like the booth number and everything. You'll recognize it if you know, are local and you go to the mall. You'll recognize it right away. I'm trying to think like how to explain where it is that you guys would know who know the mall. It would be, I think it's right across from, there's a booth that sells a lot of like military type stuff. And then on our one side is a lot of like toys and racing memorabilia and things like that. And then on the other side, I can't even remember. It's like there's nothing like, you know, super specific to the stuff. It's like a mixture of things, kind of, you know, like our booth is. You know, but some booths are pretty specific with what, you know, they sell, and then there's booths like ours, which is just like a mixture of stuff. But anyway, you'll see it and you'll recognize it as soon as, you know, I'm in there and I'm showing you the whole setup and us moving in. But like I said, I think that's pretty much everything for this video. I have a lot of videos I want to record today, so yeah, I'm gonna be spending my whole day recording videos and editing videos because I feel like it's been a while since I even did an eBay cha-ching. So I'm doing one of those as well because I am just behind with stuff. And I have a yard sale video that I need to edit. I have a yard sale haul I need to record, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm doing or not. I don't know. So much. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know how booth sales have been going for you. You know, it is getting warm, summer, you know, and it's some days good, some days not so good, that kind of thing. And I feel like that's how it'll probably be, you know, through the summer. And then, you know, once the holidays start kicking up, then, you know, probably see people buying, you know, for the holidays and things like that. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.